I'm going to hop in right now and get you a little bit of footage for those in the stream here, something to look at, some eye candy while I'm talking with the big white bald head in the dark. We're going to get in our Discord right now, and here's a couple of the topics. Before I get into Discord really quick, I just want to kind of pop this up. Let's see here. These are some of the things we're going to be talking about. I'm going to throw it up on the other screen. Let's see here. Let's see here. I love having two screens now. It's fantastic. So these are the things we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about reasons that you personally created your own organizations or why you joined them. We're going to be talking about organization mechanics, because I've read up on quite a few different things that Chris has in mind when it comes to organizations. And we're going to be talking about organizational warfare or lack thereof. I've read quite a bit about that. So I've prepared myself tonight to talk about these issues. Types of organizations, effects of organizations on gameplay, benefits of being in an organization, recruiting tactics, and advertising, which we've kind of brushed up briefly to start here. And then, as I said, if you would like to advertise your own organization on our video, go ahead, or within our Twitch chat right now and stream. I think that's going to be a fun time. So let's hop into our Discord right now. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hello, my friend. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Necron. How you doing, buddy?
Cool, mate. Cool. Everything's cool.
Good. Necron's got his own stream, and I've met him a couple months back. He joined our community, and it's been a great time knowing him. He just joined our Discord today. It's good to hear from you. It's actually good to talk to you directly.
Yeah, cool, mate. Cool.
Good.
About time.
And we also have Kamikaze Ninja Boys. Kamikaze Ninja Boy here.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
There's Kamikaze Ninja Boy, and then it looks like Big D's in here too. We got Big D. I see Big D in here, but he's not saying it. He's probably eating some type of pasta or something. Are you in there, Big D? Yeah, he just popped in. He'll talk eventually. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about, let's start off with you guys and talk about, like, are you guys right now in organizations?
Yeah, most certainly. Currently in 3 organizations myself.
Okay, cool. What's your style of gameplay, Kamikaze? What do you like?
So I'm basically a trader. I am all about the economy. I live for the monies, right? And so my main gameplay will be, how can I progress not only myself, but also I feel that Star Citizen has such a huge community and such a massive gameplay that you can't just do it all yourself. You do need an organization. You do need that support in order to get yourself to that next level. Starting off with the brand new Merchantman, I anticipate doing big things, and I want to keep growing from there, and you just can't do it yourself, right? Yeah. So that's the main focus.
That's a good perspective, actually. Not a lot of people understand that. I would say the majority of people do, but there's a small percentage of people I feel like they don't understand that you can't get as much done or accomplished if you're doing it on your own solo as you can with like a large group of people. Plus, that's the thing, isn't it, though, Kamikaze? Is like, isn't it more fun to play with like other people with shared like kind of ideas than it is like solo? I don't know. That's my opinion. But what about you? What do you think?
No, you're completely right. Like, I mean,
Right.
Everybody has their own unique things that they can kind of bring to the table, right?
Right.
Some individuals like their dogfighting. Some individuals have a project management type of mindset where they can kind of coordinate things even on the back end, right? So
Right.
you bring all these different avenues from all these different people across the world together, and you're able to enhance that gaming experience just that much more.
Yeah, I think it's integral to like making the game, like any game that like involves like human interaction. I've pushed that on the channel for like forever, probably over a year, where like really I think that if the game focuses more on human interaction, I think it'll be a much more successful game. I love what they're doing with the NPCs. I know that Chris is very focused on mission, like, I don't want to say mission grinding, because it's not like your standard mission grinding. Like, his missions were never standard. His missions are like very kind of like storyline, like pick A or B or C, and then it takes you in a completely different direction. So I respect that the core of his philosophy is like, okay, I'm going to do missions and I'm going to incorporate NPC and AI in a way that not a lot of people are accustomed to. I like that. But I still want him and Sig to focus on the fact that like the best gameplay I've ever had in any game, no matter the game, has always been like human interaction. Like one of the best experiences I can say is like Arma 3 or like, you know, like different types of like games that get you in the mode where like you're actually combating other intelligent life forms in a game, you know? Like,
Completely.
right, like
AI can only go so far,
right. And so to endorse like human and human interaction is where I want them to eventually like get to. I get that now they are focusing on this because they have to. It's like this, it's like where they're at in the gameplay, you know? But that's one of the reasons I wanted to focus tonight, our talk on organizations, is because like organizations really aren't going to delve. We're really not looking into NPC or AI when we're talking organizations. We're talking people. You know, we're actually talking about, you know, if I'm, for instance, Kamikaze, you're like a trader, you know, like if you meet other traders that are like taking over like territories, because traders, you know, when you're trading, especially if you're actually doing the footwork and you're going from A to B and you see somebody outdoing you, like, you know, like, or outselling you, or out, you know, purchasing more of item X than you can purchase, and then selling it at a price that's like lower than you can compete with, then you start to think in your head, like, okay, how do I take this guy out? Like, how do I, right. And that's when organizations come really, you know, that's when organizations come into play. And that human versus human experience is why I think the game's cool. A lot of people want to limit that. A lot of people I see that comment on my videos say, oh, you know, I hope this is very policed and I want everything to be like, I want NPCs to generate the prices. I want NPCs to be controlled, like blah, blah, blah. And I think that leads to a very, like in trading, in regards to trading, I think that leads to a very flat gaming experience if your prices are always going to be dictated by AI. You know, like I would not like that. I think that you would lose a lot of economic or entrepreneurial type of people who like that gameplay, and you would just be, they would be like, this is it. This is flat. You know, do you agree with that?
Oh, completely. And
Okay.
what I'm hoping that CIG kind of does is creates a balance between the two. Because on one hand of the spectrum, if you leave it completely up to the player base and nothing else, it'll turn into like an Eve type of scenario where it just gets astronomical with costs, right?
Right.
Whereas on the other hand, if you go and you completely police it, all of a sudden you're not able to actually get any sort of gameplay past this flat sort of, okay, well, this is always going to be the set standard price. What I would like to see, and I'm hoping that admins later in the future kind of hone in on this, is let the players be able to dictate the prices and everything else, but only to a certain extent. Then, similar to like what a government would do, is they would step in and they would put down whether it be certain taxations, or they would put some sort of regulations in place to kind of either bring down or to cap in a way, for a temporarily cap, but it still allows the player and the community to still modify, if that kind of makes any sort of sense.
Right. So in your organization, are you going to be strictly all traders, or are you going to have people that are going to handle some of the security issues or some of the fighting that needs to be done and involved with trading?
So, in complete honesty, when it comes to Star Citizen, I myself, I'm not an actual founder of an organization.
Okay.
As I said, I'm a part of three. So, if you don't mind, I kind of want to tell you about the three. The first one basically is me and my actual work friends. So these are people that I know in real life. It's just going to be a very small organization. It's just for whenever we have a chance to actually get on, that'll be the main gameplay. The second, I actually did join up with you guys. So Plexus, that is what my main focus is going to be. So when we have our campaigns, I know there's certain things we want to talk about, and there's certain things that we want to stay mysterious about. But all those type of gameplays, they completely intrigue me. So that's where the majority of my personal gameplay is going to be. And then the third organization is a different take on organizations, and I don't know if you're going to bring this up later or not, but this organization is actually a group of traders, and I think it's like in the thousands now. They don't actually have a mission base or anything else. What this organization is focused around is just letting other traders know who can be trusted and who can't be, through a ranking hierarchy.
Okay.
And so you don't really need to be a part of the organization. You don't need to, join their discords or anything else, but you will be able to have ratings on yourself and be able to propagate yourself at a higher or lower ranking, right?
So in essence, is it like tagging? It's like basically like a great organization to keep tabs on like who's actually a trustworthy player and who isn't.
Bingo.
Okay, that's a really good idea. Actually, I like that. I've never heard of that. I really like that guy. I'll have to talk to you later. I like that idea a lot because
Most certainly.
it's gonna be hard to track. Like it's actually gonna be very hard to track. But to keep like a living like an actual catalog of that is very helpful because that information in itself is going to be worth a lot of money. Especially to somebody like me. And this is gameplay like what Wid is saying in our Twitch chat right now. He's saying PvP just doesn't mean shooting each other. He's absolutely right. PvP is in all regards player versus player in all regards, like in trading and keeping track of like information. Information is going to be huge in this game. Like that's the thing I think that I can't stress enough is the information in the game, not just the data packets and everything that you're going to ship around with the Herald and everything. That in itself is going to be great with exploration. We'll get into that next week. We'll talk about exploration next week. But like just in knowing who is your friend and who is your enemy and who to trust. And I like that your organization's actually keeping track of that. That's pretty good. And that information alone, that database that you're going to create, however you're going to sell it, that is why this game is the game that I think is going to be the kind of game that's going to blow everybody away, because there's going to be so many different ways to make money in this game that it's going to make so many people imagining. Like it's a game that inspires like imagination and creativity. And I can't tell you, like I have been waiting for a game for this forever. When I saw this game last year, I about shit myself. When I saw it was Chris, right? And I'm very familiar with Chris, and I love Chris Roberts. Big fanboy Chris Roberts. When I saw that Chris Roberts made this game, I was like, there's going to be no way I'm going to hate this game. Like I'm very, very critical. And so, for me to just kind of just go, oh, it's Chris Roberts and just be like, yes, like it's a rarity. I think that can only be done by Chris, really. I started to learn about the different types of gameplay that he wants. This is why I think this is very challenging, is that, in regards to when people have questions about Star Citizen, they say, is this going to be in game? Is this going to be in game? Is this going to be in the game? And Chris is like, yes, 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 yes. Like the yes is like never really stop, and I know that this is this internal struggle that's happening within SIG where like, a lot of the divisional leads are kind of like, all right, Chris, you like, yes, we get you want yes, but like we also have to like ground you a little bit here and say no for now, yes for later. You know what I mean? So okay, so that's great to hear. It's great to hear you, Kamikaze. We'll come back to you. All right, Necron, tell us a little bit about. Do you have an organization you created that you're in that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I do. As it goes, mate. I created an organisation for bounty hunting.
Cool.
Although I don't really think I'm going to be a bounty hunter.
Oh, okay.
I really want to. I'm sort of in a transitional sort of period because I can't make up my mind what I want to do with it. See, I was really waiting to see how it played out and if we had too much of the EastEnders sort of thing going on in the background with everybody arguing. I wanted to see how the mechanics of it worked before I actually made my mind up. You see.
Yeah, because the mechanics are really important on bounty hunting. No game has done bounty hunting right. Do you agree with me, Necron?
Yeah, no. I mean, I've been waiting for a game like this since Elite on the Commodore 64.
Right, I remember us talking about this. Right.
Do you know what I mean? And Wing Commander and that was great, but Commodore 64 floating around.
I remember that. I remember that. No, I remember that completely, man. Like I was impressed completely when Elite Dangerous had come out, and I was like, wow, look, it really is very nostalgic. Very nostalgic experience when like Elite came out. I was playing the Elite Dangerous that is the Elite Dangerous we play right now, and thinking about the Commodore 64 version. I'm like, man, this is a throw. This is crazy.
The funny thing is, I tried to plug. I actually was playing that last week. I plugged my old Commodore 64 in and had a little blast on it, and it still was great. Still a great game. But for the mechanics of bounty hunting, it's one of them. I want a group of people I can trust. You know what I mean?
You need to in that line of business too.
And you're getting these massive orgs now, aren't you? I mean, some of them are just ridiculous, and I've just got this vision in my head of these orgs like blocking systems and things like that. And me,
sorry to jump in though, but do you guys genuinely think that these orgs that are 2,000, 3,000 members, that they can genuinely stick to that type of leadership? I mean, the leadership has got to be on point, and I have a feeling they won't be able to. I don't know.
I totally agree with you. That's what I call it, the EastEnders syndrome. It'll be like a soap opera.
Right. The drama's off the hook, right? I mean, like that's where you like initially. I think Kamikaze. What you're gonna see is this, because I actually I led a very large alliance in Eve, and it was like over 1,000 members. It was very difficult. You're absolutely right. It became like my life. And like eventually I had to kind of step back and go, whoa, you know, like this is consuming my actual real life, because it was so dramatic. And you know, I came to the point where I was like, all right, if these people just can't get along, I'm going to kick them. I mean, it was like an insta boot. Like, it's like, all right, I'm going to speak to you like a civil human being. I'm going to like bring up two counterpoints. If people argued within the organization, I would actually have to take my time out, and I'd have to get in like Discord. Well, they didn't have Discord back then. I'd get in like TeamSpeak or something, and I'd be like, okay, guys, like, what's the issue? And then like I would listen, and it would be like a 13-year-old kid, and like, you know, it'd be like, and they'd be fighting over the dumbest things. And really, I started to realize like that I had to structure. I think it can be done because I did it. And the way that I did it was that I created like every aspect of gameplay. I talked about this earlier in the stream. Is like every aspect of gameplay. See, I love to build something from nothing. That's my favorite thing to do. That's why I've created the games. That's why I do what I do. I like to create. I just love to create. I love to build something and watch it grow. So when I did it in Eve, what I realized is that like I wanted like all styles of gameplay. I didn't want to negate it. To the point where I even included like, now I'm including piracy. I think that's an interesting experiment to see how that's going to work. But like, I love it. I whether it works or whether it doesn't, I want to see it mature and develop. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't. If it does, great. When I was doing it within Eve, what I would do is like, okay, if you're a miner, there was a mining division. And within the mining division, like it would all go very slow. Kind of how it is with the games right now on our Discord server. We just started this a month ago. It's 60 people. I created the channels. Eventually you're going to see people go in some rooms. You're going to have some problems. And then like I've got some admins now. The admins actually take care of most of the problems. So like the work kind of gets diverted. It's like anything else, right? You create like a hierarchy, right? So that like you actually can, you actually have like time management. Same thing within these organizations. I think what you're going to see is like a lot of people who are not good at building these things, that they're just going to kind of crumble. I don't think that the larger organizations, that like the larger ones, over like I'd say they could probably go larger, probably like 6,000 plus, which there aren't a lot of. But if you look at the organizations, anything above 6,000, I think those people that have those organizations have already have like these types of basic skill sets where they actually can create something like that and be able to lead them functionally. But that comes to the issue, like what Necron is saying, you have to trust people. And that, again, why Kamikaze's got an organization dedicated to actually like tagging people and saying like, these people you can trust and these people you can't trust. Because there's nothing worse than that when you actually give somebody the responsibility to lead people, and it's hard enough to just count on them to be there, but B, also just be able to trust them that they're not going to go away with all your corporation's assets. So that's another thing that I want to talk about, is like organizational mechanics. Like I noticed that like in organization mechanics, Chris has said that he actually wants people to have like abilities to share like things in an organizational hangar, which I think is cool. Like I want that. I want people. Now he's going to have to develop a security type system. I liked Eve's method. I'm going to go back to Eve because it's my only frame of reference in building these things. So like in Eve, I like their controls. What they did was they had corporation hangars you could rent out in each system. And then within each system, you landed at the base that was your corporation location. And then in that base, you had like a hangar. And in the hangar, there was like 7 separate levels. And what I did was I separated each 7 hangars by security, like security status, like level 1, level 2, level 3. And the only way to move up was the time and the duration of you being in my organization. And I kind of want the same thing to happen within, I at least want a good suite of tools so that I can like, you know, separate like the good stuff for the people who deserve it to the rookies. You know, like I didn't see a lot about that. I didn't really, and obviously it's because we're not there yet. But like I do like that Chris had mentioned that there was going to be that level of organization mechanics. I didn't like when he started talking about organizational warfare, and he was saying that, oh, organizations are going to fight amongst themselves all the time. Look at IBM and Apple. Look at, you know, like look at all these different things. And there was no like civil formal way of declaring war on other organizations that didn't affect your own factional status. Now that is going to be a big deal, because like if I'm fighting somebody and I'm around a system that's like UEE occupied or vice versa, more kind of bandit style, and I'm worried about faction, then you have to keep that in mind, especially with the death mechanics in the game. The way that they have death mechanics is like it's going to be hard sometimes for people to commit fully to going into combat, even when their focus is combat, and then say, okay, well, you can go and fight for our organization, but then your faction's gonna get all fucked up, and you're not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to, maybe mission where you want to mission or go where you want to go because of our organization. Then you're gonna start seeing like some limitations being put down. What do you think of that? Either one of you.
Did everyone else cut out or just him?
Oh,
I think,
can you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I couldn't hear
I
him
talked so
anymore.
long, my headset went out for everybody in Discord. People can still hear me on stream. I think people can still hear me on stream, but nobody can hear. Where did you guys leave off at? That was a long bunch of verbal garbage right there.
Yeah. That was you. You just asked me if I had to know what I did in it. Yeah.
So one thing I did want to touch on though, that I was having a very interesting conversation. I can't remember with who. It was regarding organization security, and it had less to do with the hangar. So I can't really speak on that, but it had more to do with security on a ship. Okay. And we're not talking like the 5-6 man ship. We're talking about like the massive ships where you're having 20, 30, 100 plus. Now, there is the ability that's going to be put into every organization where you can actually set security even up to doors and levels of the ship. So for example, if I, let's say, had a ship where it could house 30 different individuals, I would, regardless if I trust them or not, I would say, okay, these individuals are considered engineers on this ship. They are only able to access, let's say, the mechanic room and a few other different areas, the engine bay, whatever. This particular individual is only supposed to be helping me out with, I don't know, like avionics. So he can have access to the bridge. He can't have access to some of these other areas, like the engine room, for example. So he can't sabotage anything, right? So there might be different things that you can kind of set there when it comes to the actual ship, and I found that to be very interesting. So yes, there is going to be that level that you were talking about earlier, where you can set, okay, based on trust, but then there is also going to be that other level,
like physical, tangible security.
Physical,
right,
exactly.
Right. That's cool. I like that, because a lot of their ships will actually have like lockers and stuff that you can store physical assets. And another thing I like about Star Citizen is they keep track of every physical, tangible asset. Like it's not just like a tile. Like Eve is like, okay, I got 50 of these pulse guns, and they're little squares, and yes, they take up room in a database, but these actually will take up room within the verse. So these are actually physical items that take up space, which I thought was super cool. They developed the system, like the cargo base system, where actually, like you're looking at like filling up containers based upon actual items, size, weight, dimensions, everything. Very, very cool. Very cool. So in regards to corporations trading, what I would say, sharing, in regards to organizations sharing items, I think that you're going to see a lot of like the security issues you're talking about, Kamikaze, in ships. But what about like with hangars? Like, how do you think they're going to go about that?
Oh, that I don't know. The very first thing that comes to mind is access to the assets inside the hangar. So for example, if we, let's say, have a hangar that can support 10 ships, and you have these as organization ships, what I would start to do is, if let's say there was a 3-level system and I trusted said individuals, I would give them access to even be able to access and fly the ship without anybody else within, right? Whereas other individuals would only be able to actually access the hangar. Third individuals wouldn't even be able to access hangar unless they were actually brought in. That kind of a deal, right?
They like, interesting in Twitch, I was reading while you're talking here, is that Wit is talking about corporate espionage, which is why I'm kind of touching on this, is like you're going to have people coming in to just want the goodies, You're going
I was actually just thinking the same thing myself.
Yes.
I was actually just thinking corporate espionage myself. What happens when someone changes side and does the off with all your goods from the hangar?
Right.
You're going to have some sort of corporational insurance in place.
You're going to have a lot of salty people. I mean, that's part of the game, I think, that you got to be wary of. That's going to be something where you got to shrug your shoulders and say, sorry, that's just part of the nature of the beast. I think that's what makes it exciting too. Like in a certain regards, I think that style of gameplay is something you can't avoid, and a lot of people will view it as a negative. It depends upon if you're getting your shit ganked or not. It's you.
Right,
but, you know, like that,
or if you're the one doing the ganking.
Right. But I think that in itself is like also exciting, and I don't want to like limit it, because I think in a way, like, if it's outright stealing or theft and somebody's found a way to like hack into your account, just basically gank all your shit, I think that should be reimbursed. That's completely different from what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like in-game, like corporate espionage, like Wit is speaking of right now in our stream, where they come in, they meet you, and they find a way to walk around your ship. Maybe you don't have your security set up. You know, when you all of these things that happen to you within the game make you a better player. So if that ends up happening to you, you didn't take the measures needed to secure your shit. Well, guess what? Now you're going to learn. You know what I mean? Or you're going to quit. Yeah. And I think that's the balance, that, you know, that's the fine line that SIG has to find, is like, they don't want people to quit, because if people quit, they want to have like the support that they need to keep the game going. We talked about that a little bit previous in the other video. We were talking about like a pay to win versus pay to play model, and how they're still going to need revenue coming in. And, you know, like, if you put a bad taste in some people's mouths, such as sometimes Eve does, like you were talking about Kamikaze, where they're just going so player versus player, or so, you know, human and no policing, that people just say, you know, they throw up their hands in there, they say, shit, fuck that, I'm done with this, you know, like, I'm done with this. Then you've lost, you know, you've lost revenue from that, and then that's going to hurt the game. But I don't really see anything, you know, short of like theft. And I've already know like somebody who's a good friend of mine, somebody came in and stole all our shit, and SIG handled it beautifully. Like, SIG came in, they said, okay, let's investigate the situation. It took them a couple days. They got back to him, and they replaced all his stuff, and they said, hey man, here you go. And I was like, wow, that's very proper. You know, that's very proper of them to do.
Yeah. No, they seem to handle when it comes to like actual theft or actual you know, doing things that are not intended to be done. They handle that quite well.
Yeah.
But they also are very cognizant, and Chris especially is very cognizant in wanting to allow, let's say, you know, in-game piracy, in-game actions to be able to not only be on the good side, but also on the little bit of the shady and mysterious side, right?
Mm-hmm,
which is what I'm kind of digging as well.
Right. Yeah, and I
one thing I did.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. Go ahead.
So one thing I was going to mention though was my previous MMO background was from a game called Lineage 2. I don't know if many know about it. I was a huge player for many years on the game. Mm-hmm. One thing I did find was that, number one, espionage will always happen.
Right.
Okay. Number two, what I found was espionage started happening more frequently as the player base either dwindled or when there was limited game mechanics or gameplay. So right now, what CIG is doing is they're creating that foundation, and they're going. I see someone saying play.
Yeah, I see Ace saying that he played Lineage too.
That's awesome, bro. Sorry, I actually lost my train of thought right there. Come back to me.
Right.
Like, I'm all excited for that.
Like, all of a sudden you're like, shit, I gotta play Lineage right now. That's okay. Don't worry. Okay, so I'll help you out until you remember. When you remember, let me know, and we'll talk about it. But okay, so here's something interesting I'd like to talk about, is like the types of organizations. Like, you've talked about trading. Necron's talked about bounty hunting. And, you know, like, one of the things, I had made a video over a year ago about careers, and nobody else did it, and did gangbusters. It got a lot of views because I think at that point in time, careers weren't even thought of. And I was saying, okay, here's the things that you can be. And a lot of people got inspired by it and said, oh, this is great. You know, like, just based upon like prior game experience, this guy just basically said, okay, here's some of the things I could see happening down the road. And a lot of the things that I had predicted are coming true. Like, a lot of the things that I had, you know, said that were going to be in the game are going to be in the game. I don't like that SIG is actually like saying, okay, we have a bounty hunting profession. We have a blah, blah, blah profession. We have a, you know, and they're actually like, I don't know, creating like mechanics or missions within the game to accommodate those. I didn't ever want it that way. I just wanted people to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted people to like naturally do it, and they don't need a title. They don't need anything in the game saying that, oh, you're going to be a bounty hunter. You're just a bounty hunter. You know, you're just a trader, you know, like you are those things because those are the things that you like to do in the game. So what other types of organizations, Necron, do you think you're going to like run into, like that you can think of? Is Neck there? Did I lose him?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you did maybe.
Oh shit, Necron's gone.
Hello.
Okay, there
Hello.
you are. There you are, Necron. So, like, any other types of organizations you look forward to running into being a bounty hunter, or?
Well, I'm actually in another organisation like freelancer and smuggling.
Okay, cool, cool. Smuggling. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. I'm in UNIS because they're British and they're sort of on the same time of day as I am, so I get to have a good gameplay with them and good chat with them, and they're a good bunch of fellas as it goes. So,
and
it's.
That's that human interaction too, you know. That's what I mean, like, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that fun? Like, to be in an organization and talk to other. Yeah, right. That's cool.
Yeah, especially when I'm beam into a server and they're all hanging around because they like to hold Korea for a while with savers, like. So they're like that. Yeah. So they just like to sit around, saver, and take everyone out.
That's great, man. That's cool, man. That's why I love the game.
So I beam in and then they start firing on me, not realising it's me, and I go, no, I'm in your org, and they go, all right, go shoot in then, you know, and that's the fun of the game, you know. That's the brilliant side of the orgs, you know.
Right, that is the fun part.
My own org, I want to change it because I actually want the Mako. I just want to fly around in a news van.
Oh yeah, that's next week's video.
That's all I do now.
I'm doing a video on that, like news and the Mako. Like it's really cool. That's like another business model, like a completely another. Yeah. Like we're talking about news and like this is where I want it to get to, which I don't know if it's ever going to get to. But that I like that you mentioned that. Is like a news organization, right? You create a news organization, you got a fleet of Makos, you got people going around the entire verse, getting all the information they can from people, just like we are on stream, like talking to them, like, hey, what happened to you in this system? What happened to you in this system? And then they report it. Maybe they got their own website you can go to. But like, wouldn't it be cool too if they offered tools within the game to where like you could sit down at like a monitor or like a panel, and you could just use your panel in game like you do like your own PC? I always thought that would be so cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Right?
Very cool.
Right? So that like you're literally using it like in game. Like what's the new thing they have out? They just talked about Citizen. I just did it. Starts with an S. The platform they're creating starts with an S. It's a communications platform.
Right. Communication.
Can't think of it now. If you guys know in stream. I'll find it while you all right, cool. Yeah. So like they're creating this platform, but I think it would be really cool. They did say that they were going to create like some in-game events and stuff that would like pop up within your Moby Glass. They didn't really get into it too much. But I think they're going to push to have that out within the next month. I think that will be out that platform. And hopefully they can like integrate that platform so that we can like, how cool would it be in game if on a monitor you could punch up and you could see like a SATA ball competition, right? Maybe have a couple bets with a couple of the fellas from the organization, like Spectrum. Thank you. Right, the localized VoIP, right? And so like, how cool if they used Spectrum in such a manner where they can integrate it into like the panels of your ship or your Moby Glass, so you can walk around and I know this is like this is a big thing, you know, this probably will never happen, but this is an idea that I hope like gets you know, in a certain way. Maybe I'll just do a video on this so it kind of gets over there. But like you get in, you can watch SATA ball, you can do things on this terminal where you can you know, a trading platform of sorts where you can, you know, like you want to buy and sell within the system that you're in. Great. Pull it up. There it is. You can punch it in game, set your buy and your sell orders within the game. You know, some type of tool where you can just basically surf around inside the game, I think would be really cool. I really would think that would be very cool. So I got off track now. Now I'm off track. Right? But that's why I love this game. I mean, that's why I love it, because like it inspires you to like kind of think differently. And that's why I love Chris too, because like he's always open to these to ideas and interpretations. Like nothing is ever static. You know, one of the things I hate in my videos, I've said this to my own community like 1,000 times and until they're like enough out. But like I can't stand when I talk about game design and in the videos people are like, nope. Not gonna be in it, because they're so accustomed to like just listening to the news that's out now and just like people that rehash it over and over again, and they say nope, that's not gonna be in it, and then like, you know, a couple months later, a year later, all of a sudden it is in it. Well, guess what? That's because we're in the development stage. You know, that's what happens in the development stage. There is really no, you know, like right now,
right.
And there really will never be no No, with Chris. Even after the game is released in its final form, like there's still going to be DLC coming out after the fact. You're still going to see like changes made to the game in big and small scale. So like I find this attitude where I see a lot of, I don't say a lot of people, but a small percentage of people that come to my videos and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. This is going to be in the video, or that's not going to be in the game, you know? And it's like, you know, I'm not saying that it's going to be in the game unless I say it's going to be in the game, number one. And number two, I'm talking about ideas. Like I'm talking about concepts, you know, like this is why I think a lot of people gravitate to my channel. Little Dob saying to have a black market organization. That's pretty cool. So what other types of organizations, like for instance, let's think here. So we got like bounty hunting, smuggling, piracy, trading.
What about human transport? I think that is going to be a niche type of organization. But imagine if you get something similar to like an airline type of organization, right? I don't know if you guys have done much research on what the different mini game mechanics are going to be for the human transport model, but it actually does fascinate me. I frankly think it'll be a little too involved for my gameplay, but I think it would be brilliant. I mean, when you're going, you have to make sure that your movies are up to date. You have to make sure that your guest satisfaction is proper, so you can charge a higher amount for tickets, whether it be live or NPCs to sell to. Be able to buy certain tickets or licenses to be able to even pick up humans from a specific launch pad, right? It's just going to be a very, very unique gameplay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. In fact, one of our members, Matt, in our community, he wants like a whole slave trade too. I'm like, dude, that's cruel. That's like, you're like wicked. He's like, yeah, we need to develop like a system. Yeah, he's like, we need to develop a system in which we can restrain human players and like make sure that when I lock them in a cell that they stay locked. I'm like, dude, okay, now I think we're getting a little overboard. I'm a little scared now.
It can't be just humans too. It can be alien races too that you can do that too.
Yeah, Big D. Yeah, welcome, man. It's good to hear your voice, dude. Okay, so
weren't they talking about in the future being able to actually be a different race? I know this is kind of getting a little off topic, but
I made a video about that. Yeah, like I wanted to. Like I would love. I made a video that said, "Would you like to be an alien?" And let's see. I'm gonna pop that up here. Hold on one second. That's good. I haven't seen the poll in forever. And I did not see anybody else talking about this at all. And again, like I make a video like this and it's theory craft, you know, like I'm just theory crafting it out. I'm not saying it's in there. People got really upset. They're like, why you want to be a fucking alien, man? You know what I mean? I'm like you traitor, it's not going to be in the game. And I'm like, I understand that's not going to be in the game. Here, let me put it up on this screen over here real quick. Here, let me. I'm on stream and I will put that roll over there. Wait, where'd it go? All right, can you guys see that? All right, so in this video here, I talk about, it's called the alien poll, and basically I talk about like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could be another alien? Like I kind of want to, like I love the scythe. I love everything about the scythe. I think it's so very cool to like just the different alien feeling that you get. These are all the polls that are flashing up here on the stream. Let's go to, hold on one second. Let's see. Let's look at this poll real quick. And let's see how many people.
I don't know. You and your scythe, I don't know. Like I'm thinking Banu, because how awesome would it be to be like,
oh yeah, that too. Right.
I'm your friend. Yeah, I want the money.
Right. Okay, so right, exactly. Like I was thinking Van Duel kamikaze it into like a large bangle. You know what I mean? Like I was just like like, you know, that's where I'm at. Like, oh, Battlestar Galactica, like I'm a Cylon or some shit,
until
you know.
Someone comes and imprisons us, and then we'll be
right until Matt's system works out. Okay, so here's the question I posed on the poll, and it's kind of hard to see. Let me move it over here for the people on the stream so they can see it. And it's, would you like to play as an alien race in Star Citizen? And then I've got all different choices here. Let's look at the results. Okay, so 35% of people, this it's a large portion, but not the majority, said no. 35% of people said no, I would not like to be an alien character, and I don't want to have others to have that option. So 35% of people said not only do they not want to be aliens, but they don't want any other fucking people to be aliens either. So that's, you know,
like, what I think that is? Huh. I think it's that they fear faction war. I think that,
well,
the moment.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just think that the moment you go and you actually start separating race, there is always going to be that lingering thought in the back of the mind where the race can get together and now there will be a larger faction war, and then there'll be certain galaxies that you just won't be able to, or star systems that you won't be able to travel to, right?
Yes.
That might be one of the areas it's coming from. I think strictly from a design standpoint, as long as the metrics of the bodies stay similar,
Right,
so
with
you're
the
able to get into the
ships and
ship, you're able to
right, right.
exactly all that stuff, then I think it should be allowed.
And
I,
and,
I,
and
I
the
don't see any
majority and
issue
the
behind it.
majority of people actually agree with this. That took this poll. And so like let's keep going here. Yeah. So
I think people should have the choice as well, myself, to
right,
be honest with
right.
you.
And the
I
majority
think
of people,
people have the choice.
if you add it up, Necron, it looks like okay, yes, I would like to have my choice to play as all
I
alien
mean, I can't
characters.
understand why people would want to restrict people just to be aliens. I mean, it's variety, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
variety faces a lot. Variety is the spice of life. I mean, why would you want to restrict other people from having a bit of variety? I mean, I just don't get that. I really
Well,
Do
don't
you
get
think it's
that.
because they didn't add that much lore to the other?
I think it has a little bit to do with the lore and the fact that
Yeah,
nobody wants to see like a human. And this is the opposing side. Nobody wants to see like us as human beings in real life log in as an alien character and then screw up the immersion for them. Like they don't want to see
right.
like a Vandal teabagging a human, but I do.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Right?
I am
Right. I
totally
mean,
with
what
you.
the fuck's wrong
You're
with
a little
that?
kicky there, Al.
Right.
And
No,
to
I'm
be
just
fair with
saying,
you-
like, it'd be hilarious, you know? I wouldn't break my immersion at all. I think it would be great. In fact, I think it'd actually bring more immersion to the game because it's like, not only am I just fighting the alien AI, now I'm actually fighting the alien intelligence, like the human brain behind the alien,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yes.
Right.
And
So,
you know what? I'm all up for interplanetary war if they want it. I'm all up for it, you know?
right, right,
You know what I mean? I mean, if they want it, I'm up for it.
That's funny, dude.
Interplanetary war. I'm a good pilot. I'm up for it.
So 65% of people said yes, like essentially. 35% of people said no, and the rest of them said yes. So, and then if you look at the poll here on stream, you can actually see I split it up by characters too, and I said it looks like the race that most people want to be is the Xi'an, and then the Banu, and then Tavarin, then Vandul, and then Kurthak, which only got 2 votes in the end. But it's not that big a sample. Only 293 people voted. But you know, like trying to get 293 people to vote on anything is difficult in itself. So it's, you know, relative to our own community right now. The one poll that I like the most right now is our survival poll, which has nearly 1,000 people voted on, and 92% of people want survival in the game, and it's still
Definitely.
I still
Yeah,
get people that say that it's not that it doesn't matter because there's a million subscribers or a million citizens to Star Citizen, but like really, since I've had 100 people vote on this poll, that has not budged. It has always been 92%. So at 100 people it was 92%. At 200 people it was 92%. At 300, 400, there on and so forth, it's always been at 92%. That has not budged. So I find that significant that people really do want some type of survivability in that in the game. Yeah, and like Ace says, there's survival in reference to oxygen and EVA and stuff like that we know is written into the game. But like what I like to talk about, Ace, is like what is not written into the game. You know, like that's what we're talking about right now.
I do want to see the hunger. I do want to see.
I
the
want to
thirst.
see it only because in the most recent, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'll just spit this out and I'm done. Is Chris had said, and I did a video about this where he had said that, hey, there will be survivability gameplay, and the gameplay will be enough to satiate most people gameplay where they don't even need to do anything else. That's basically essentially what he said. Now, if that's going to be in the game, I think how I'm interpreting it is it's going to be more than just surviving from storms or oxygen or, you know, like the local bad guys, like the sand guys that we saw in the most recent. But we'll see. If they do anything with food and drinks, it would also give more credibility to traders and people who are entrepreneurial in spirit and want to, like, or farmers, like an industry, like organizations. Getting back to the organization talk, you're going to have organizations that are solely built on industry, like mining, farming, science. You know, like, and Big D and I were talking about the other night with Matt about like illnesses and medicines and stuff of that nature. It would be cool if they started implementing that type of thing. Remember that, Big D?
Yeah, just diseases on
Yeah.
any kind of spectrum where it just destroys millions of dollars worth of ores or crops, and
yeah, and you see a lot of like dissent with this, and the interesting thing is like the loudest voices, like Humidor saying, if they put hunger and star system or any survival crap like that, I want my money back. I don't think people understand though that like if they don't want that in the game, they don't land on the planet, or if they do land on the planet, make sure you don't die. Make sure you don't get what I want to say, what was stranded. Stranded was the word. Like don't get stranded, and you won't have to worry about it. Like if you don't want that style gameplay, don't worry about it. Just don't get stranded on a planet. I think hunger and food becomes very important. If you're stranded on a planet, you got a beacon on, waiting for somebody to pick you up, and an organization that's actually focused on. Here's another type of organization: search and rescue. Right? You got a beacon on, you pop it on, and nobody's saving you, and you're stuck on a planet for like a week or so, and you don't have to eat or drink or do anything. That really ruins Emergent for me. Yep. You know, that totally. Really makes me feel like, what the fuck? Who cares if I'm stranded? It's almost like a No Man's Sky thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it would disappoint me if they didn't have something like that in it. It would just be ridiculous. So, again, I find it interesting that you see a lot of people kind of like dissent with it. And I don't have a problem with that. You know, like some people aren't into that. But my thing is this. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to I mean, it's not going to affect your style of gameplay. If you're into the PvP where you're fighting other people in ships and space battles, then the only survival you're going to have to worry about is like air. And if you're derelict in your ship, you're going to have to make sure somebody else is there to help you and rescue you. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt you're going to have to worry about eating. You know, like it's the eating and the drinking and everything is if you're on a planet, pretty much, you know, is what I would say.
One other type of gameplay is going to be resource gathering, and I don't think this is only separated to space. I also think it's going to be right on the planet. I can see some organizations having space entities and also planet entities, and an entire organization just being on a planet, focusing on any sort of resource gathering off that planet. Meanwhile, their subsidiary organization is bringing them supplies to either refuel, restock, or even to replenish their food, for example.
Right. Yes.
I mean, my thought on it, right? If you don't have a little bit of survival, where's the realism?
Right.
He's
I mean, like
in a real life simulator, and he's leaving a major part of that sort of thing out of it, you know.
And then what is food then, right, Necron? I mean, then what is food? Like, what does food do then? It's just kind of trivial, like really doesn't have a purpose. And why would people become a farmer? Like, I wouldn't become a farmer if I was just growing crops to sell it to NPC. That'd be boring as shit. I'd grow my crops, I'd sell it to the NPC because of a mission or something, and who knows how many times I'm going to hit that mission. And then after I sell my crops, and I got like 5 billion other crops like waiting to sell, and no, I can't find anywhere to sell it because humans aren't buying it. Like, why would humans buy it? If I don't need to eat, why the fuck am I buying it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to buy it. I'm just going to look at it and be like, cool, maybe I'll role play it and I'll buy like 2 candy bars from you, right? Well, guess what? You just failed as a farmer because you're sitting on 10,000 of them and you only sold 2 for the people that are fucking role playing, right? I mean, like, but they don't mean anything. That has no intrinsic value. If it doesn't mean something, then it will just sit there. And that's another reason why it's very important to have that type of gameplay in there.
Well, that's exactly with the farming. If you don't, it becomes more like a spreadsheet task, doesn't it? Where you just
right.
You're passing things across to us, you know.
You're just peddling it from A to B, selling it to NPCs, and you know what? That was one of the that was the down draws of Elite Dangerous for me. Was I would buy Elite Dangerous had no real trading realism in it for me, no real industrial aspect to Elite Dangerous, and it was one of the reasons why I started pirating, because I was like, this is all Elite and no Dangerous. There's no Dangerous to this game at all. So I was like, well, I'm just going to bring the Dangerous. And I started that whole Bring the Dangerous series on my channel, and I'm going to get back into that. But like, I love doing it because that actually made me become a pirate. And then I realized, like, wow, because this gameplay is boring in this aspect, it actually made me play the game differently and open my eyes to a whole level of play. But I don't want that happening to Star Citizen. If there is no realism in the most important facet, which I love, is the economy. I love the economy. Like, I'm all about the economy. I do shit tons of videos about the economy. And if like you're looking at this video here on stream where you're at the bar, okay, great. You're at a bar, you're at a setting, you're talking with people. Like, these drinks, if they don't really, like, we know when you drink, if they give you buffs or something, that might even help a little bit. Like, maybe if they give you buffs or something, give it some type of tangible value, great. You know, that'll satiate me a little bit. But like, if you're on a planet and you are you are literally stranded, and you have like drinks there, but they're only going to give you buffs, then is that really immersive? Like, is that really like, it's, you know,
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
no, it's
Yeah.
not, it's not.
Remember that scenario that I posted on one of your videos? I think it was the survival video about the bad air. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. That scenario right there, I mean, that would be, if Chris is able to implement that, it would make it that much better. Imagine you, and do you mind if I talk about it for a sec?
Go ahead,
Al?
dude. I'm going to comment
Okay.
on what I see Humidor. I'm commenting on Humidor right after you, so go ahead.
Fair enough. So here I am. I'm landing on this planet. I start exploring. Right. That's part of what I'm going to be doing. As I'm exploring, all of a sudden I figure out that a storm's coming. But unlike the actual, let's say sandstorm or something, some other type of invisible storm or something is already hit where it's bad air. Bad air has now come over. I am not able to take off. Now all of a sudden I have two impending dangers. One, I have to survive off the impending storm coming through, and I got to survive that. But the second thing I got to do is I got to survive long term until I either A, repair my ship from any damage caused, or B, until bad air is gone and I can actually leave, right? That's where you start getting into hunger and thirst and a few other of the basics.
Right. Go ahead.
But
Go
I mean,
ahead.
you're just going to be on planets, aren't you? And walking about planets from A to B to B to C, and then there's going to be nothing in between. You've got to have some sort of realism.
You know what you got to have? You got to have these items mean something to people, and that's the demand. That creates the demand, right? Like what?
Well, it adds gameplay, doesn't it?
Right, like Humidor says, and I think this is interesting. I'm not being an ass, Humidor. I'm just responding to comments I see down here in our stream. He's saying that's what the trading career is, though. Buy low, sell high, 3 jumps away. Who cares who's buying the product? It's about profit generating as a trader. Okay, I'll tell you why. Who cares? Because if you're a trader in that career, it's more than, it's about who you're selling it to. It's about why they deem it valuable and why they're paying you the price they pay. If it's NPC, if it's only NPC, it's already generated, and I can't fluctuate my profit margins. I can't do anything with my profit margins. I'm stuck. I'm stuck with whatever the NPC garners that it's worth. Now, if I'm dealing with humans and people need to eat, then and they're starving on a space station, or there's people starving on a planet. There will always be the NPC missions and the stuff that you sell it to, but I can make a shit ton more money as a trader if people actually need the items and they need it there. My margin increases 1,000 some odd %. I can make more money if people actually need the items. Like guns, for instance, is a big one. People are gonna fight in organization versus organization. They're gonna need to be supplied with not only guns for FPS, they're gonna need items for ships, etc. I want to supply it to them. Guess what? I'm making more money selling it to people who are human beings because they need it now than I am to NPCs. Period. That's why it matters. That's why, to me, it's more than just trading, and it does matter who the end user is. There's your answer, Humidor. There you go.
Organizations. We should get back on topic on
right. I'm glad. That's why I included a little bit of organizations right there. You're right though. Okay, so we talked about little different types of organizations. News being cool. So like the new, this whole new thing with the Mako. I'll do a video about that coming up. Now, what about the benefits of being in an organization? The benefits were, as we talked about earlier, being with more people seem to collectively you get more done. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Like if you're with more people, it depends upon what the organization, the people that you're working with, but together, now, collectively, you can get more done. Go ahead.
I'm really hoping that they add different levels of gameplay that can only be experienced with different levels of organizations. I think that if you're able to do every content in the game as a single player or with your spouse or whatever, and that's it, that will dampen the game. But the moment you start needing reasons to have 100, 200, 500 unit organizations, that's when you have access to all of a sudden this new content. That's where you kind of need their support as well as just the basic functions as well.
Yes. What do you think? What do you think, Necro?
I'm not sure really.
You're spacing out, aren't you?
No. It's I was reading a question on there about alliances and org wars and.
Okay, let me see.
Let's
Let's look there. It says, okay, Riff, who has gone boom.
And that goes back to that same interplanetary war. I mean, if you're going to have those people becoming aliens and having them wars, then it's the same thing with alliances joining up together. And that was just going through my head when I was reading that. So
here's something I do know. No, that's okay. Here's something I do know that Rift is mentioning in our stream is he's talking about internal wars, dealing with like actual like internal organization stuff when you have like civil war, I think is what he's speaking of. You're going to have that. The tools that you will have as an organizational leader, you're able to kick people out right away. So that won't be so much an issue. Like if you start seeing people dissent and they're fighting each other, just kick them out. And then what's going to happen is those people that get kicked out are going to form their own organization if they're smart and then have a war with you. Like that's probably what's going to happen. But you can also mark people with the tools. Very cool tools that Chris had mentioned. I was reading earlier today. It's kind of like getting all the information I could about organizations where you are actually able to mark people with standings in game, so that when you look at them on the HUD, you can mark them with a color that means that like red through green, whether they're friendly or whether they're enemy. So
that I would love.
Definitely love it. They're putting it in. They're putting it in. So that's cool. Definitely love that tool that Chris is going to put in there. I love that. I'm in agreement with Kamikaze on that. That's necessary. You have to, because like, who do you know you're shooting at? You know what I mean? Like, you won't be flying around and the guy's like, you just pirated my ship and I'm in your alliance. You know what I mean? Like, oh, sorry, dude. They didn't mean to do that. Sorry. But there will be those types of tools in there. I'm reading more questions here in the chat. Let's see here. Vandal attack. Oh, they're still talking about this. Still talking about the trading and the items. Yeah, mark your frenemies.
It's a hot topic, I tell you. The Banu are gonna come.
It would be really awesome to have an assassination or organization.
Oh yeah.
Well, I actually listed my original organisation as an assassination organisation.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I love Big D as such an evil guy. I hope you're in my org, dude. I love your mind.
I mean, the whole org would be like, even if your people inside they want to get the assassination, you'd still do it.
Right.
Yeah,
He came up with this
idea.
I want
people to know that someone's coming after them, though. If I've got someone give me a hit, I want the person who's got the hit to know that they've got a hit on them. So they know I'm coming. Just so it gives them the fear.
We were talking the other night about making like medicine for curing illnesses, and then Big D comes out of the blue and he goes, yeah, and I also would love it if you could create like a plague. I was like, damn, dude. like he wants to like
food supply.
Right. I would love it if I could poison people and plague them. I was like, damn.
Okay, that's exactly where my mind went. Imagine if you could poison someone. So let's say they're sitting in the bar, and all of a sudden you know that in half an hour your org is gonna get in the ship and fly away, right? So they get poisoned, and all of a sudden they are not able to control, let's say, the ship properly. So now all of a sudden you've lost your pilot. Okay, your pilot is able to perform another function. He's still able to play, but he's not able to fly the ship appropriately. Right. So now he's taken out, and you're having a few other people taken out, and the remaining people, what happens if they're saboteurs? And it just starts escalating, and everything's...
Or you would just board the ship, wouldn't you, and take their ship, throw them out.
Completely. You just toss them out the airlock and you say, see you later.
Or if you want to be a troll, set off the self-destruct and get back in your ship.
Bring the ship to a chop shop or something and make extra coin.
Are you joking me? The one thing I would love to do if I was a saboteur, I would love to somehow rig the ship or hack the ship in order to say, ship's about to blow. Everyone start EVAing. Get out. Everyone starts getting out. The ship's perfectly fine.
Right, then wave to him out the window as you fly away. Right, like
thanks guys. Escape pods and everything. And you just sit there like, I just took over.
What I talk about was hacking. I would really love to be able to go through security system.
Yes.
Right. All right, so. So far, I'd say we had a pretty good talk. Was there anything else anybody would like to add to the organizational talk that we had tonight? I think we went over quite a bit of different pieces of info. Anybody got anything to add? Yeah? That many people?
No.
Don't all get up. Don't all get up and talk at once. No, I mean, we talked about the reasons of organizations. We talked about organization mechanics. I'm trying to think of any other types of mechanics within the gameplay. The thing I did mention was I wasn't happy with it. You couldn't create like a civil type of like war declaration where you didn't have to worry about faction. That's not in yet. I would like to see that.
You know, there is going to be the subcontracting. So I mean, there are going to be organizations that basically can be contracted out for X amount of time or whatever, right? Or X amount of functions. So
yeah,
it's really cool to have and treaties.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and I do like. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I just like the fact that you are able to go and transfer funds the way you're able to in game. You're able to set up something similar to goals or missions where they get X amount of money at the beginning, X amount at the end of the task being completed.
Yes,
I like the fact
like
that they're setting all that up. Exactly,
yeah, like an escrow. I love that too. I read that, and that's good that you brought that up, Kamikaze. They're going to create like an escrow account, like Kamikaze is saying, so that like, you know, like initially they'll get like a little bump of pay for taking it, and then as it progresses, it will pay them off for completion of the mission, which is cool that they are creating that within the tools of the organization for the organization members. Very cool feature, very cool game mechanic. Love it. Any other mechanic? We did mention that you're able to mark. You'll be able to mark different organizations and alliances as either friends or foes, which is cool. You know, like the contract escrow system is going to be pretty nice. And again, this is all very future, in the future. We talked about organizational warfare slightly, types of organizations, effects of organizations on gameplay. I don't think we got into that too much, but like, for instance, effects of organizations on gameplay, I find is a pretty neat little topic because you're talking about like, for instance, two trading organizations in the same space. That's a good kind of analogy. The way to start talking about this is you got two trading organizations running the same lines. That's going to affect gameplay on a large scale because you're going to have people coming in that are going to have to be run as security, especially from the other organization. I think is what you're going to find. And you're going to have people coming in wanting to like basically put hits on people like assassins or bounty hunters of sorts, or mercs. You're going to have like a lot of people in a localized area based upon the organization's their leadership and where their mind's at. You know, like if you have somebody, for instance, that has like a Donald Trump mindset, they'll want to build a wall around a system, or like if you got like but you know,
at the
like,
cost of others, right,
exactly,
energy field,
right, a large energy field around a system, and then you're gonna have people that are upset about that, and then other organizations that will come in, and the what I want to say, the synergies are really cool, like the way in which things will basically come up because of your organization's style of gameplay will affect others, and therefore you'll see the cause and effect hit in the game. And I when the game comes out finalized, I want to do a lot of reporting on that. I actually want to do a lot of like in-depth kind of analysis on like, okay, here's this organization, they've been camped here, they're doing XYZ, they've been doing it for this long, and then all of a sudden here comes the other organization and they don't like it that much, or they do like it. And, you know, like, I really kind of want to, like, report on that a little bit, or have an aspect to our organization that will report on that. I know that there's a lot of people in our organization already that are actually very interested in news kind of gathering. And, again, I think that's why the video next week is going to be really fun for me to kind of research a little bit, get into the Mako, talk about, like, more theory craft, which is what I really love to do. And so anything that you can think of that would be, like, specific, like... there's two large organizations right now. I'm trying to remember. One of them is Test, right? Test. And there's two organizations. Last time I looked, I saw them today. I went to look them up, and there was like two organizations over 10,000 members, which is fairly large. And I'm wondering whether those organizations are friendly with one another right now. I'm not quite sure. That would be really interesting.
I don't even think they're friendly within themselves.
Well, no, right. On the surface, everything looks great, but
yeah, it's gonna go bad real fast.
You think they're gonna crumble apart instantly? Like, boom, the game comes out, poof, they all blow up.
I want to fly the Idris. No, I want to fly the Idris.
Right, I want to do it. Boom. Yeah,
what
that's
I am
gonna be
curious
hard.
about,
Hmm.
what I am curious about is if there's going to be organizations that are going to take on the roles of policing.
Hmm.
So not just going and saying, okay, this is our space, but being that neutral party that goes around kind of like the Power Rangers or whatever else to say, okay, everything looks good, moving on. Oh shit, there's a fight going on, time to jump in, right? I wonder if there's going to
Right.
be any sort of policing aspect to that as well, because
We do
they
see
would
some of that
potentially.
already, don't you? You do see some of that group of players going after
Hmm. Hmm.
the what you call it,
Pirates.
enemy number one, public enemy.
Oh,
Right.
right, yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
do
because
get groups. Yeah,
there's not that much content to play with right now, so.
yeah. But you also see people like, do you know what I mean?
That's a very good point.
Sitting there policing it and flying around and like going the protectorate. I forgot what they call it. They had a little thing going about
Yeah,
a month
yeah,
ago
you're
where
right,
they would
you're right.
flying around and they're protecting
I've
everyone
seen them
and stop
flying
everyone
around,
from
right?
getting trolled.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. That is cool. Like that's what I love. Again, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the effects of how gameplay happens because of organizations or mentalities or mindsets within the game. And I love this game because you can't really see a game like this that shows it so like on the surface. Like you literally are in the game and you're seeing things happen like based upon us. So I hope in the future as it continues to be flushed out and design, more designs come down. I want definitely more attention in our spectrum of the environment when it comes to people, us playing the game. I want more like anything that benefits us, the human versus human interaction. I think would be positive in this game. The more they focus on NPC and AI and all this stuff, I mean that's great. That's great. I'm glad that they developed a system when I'm walking on the streets of a planet, or if I'm on an arc and I see like a whole bunch of NPCs and I walk down, they're not going to bump into me. Thank you, Sig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about Star Citizen, isn't it? The community is lovely. The Twitch community especially is lovely.
Yeah. Most people have a really good attitude.
You get on the Twitch. Yeah, you get on a Twitch and it's like you're walking down the road bumping into people you meet, if you understand what I mean. It's like that. It's like, all right, mate, how you doing? I ain't seen you for a couple of days.
Yeah, like what's going on? Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like a good bunch of, it's like a good, and you don't get the trolls really, do you? And
just on Reddit. That's the only place you'll see the trolls.
Well,
just on Reddit.
No, Reddit.
Have we touched
I
upon
asked
the
questions
subject
of
of
music once,
organizations?
and about 20 people jumped down my throat on Reddit. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And you asked a question about music.
Yeah, God forbid, man. God forbid you go on Reddit right now with the wow. I got kicked out. Like that was the big running joke within my community. I was posting videos there for a while because it was helping me out, and I'm like, sure, this is great, and I would like get involved in like discussions and shit, and eventually like they threw me out because I was like not factual about what I was saying. I'm like, guys, do you realize that what I'm talking about?
I mean, I met you through your videos.
Theory craft. Yeah, right. Like it's like I'm talking about ideas and concepts and designs. So
first started videos, so
yeah,
I met you through the whole Star Citizen.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
Videos.
I loved it.
YouTube videos, didn't I?
You were one of the first. You were one of the first two to join our community too, and I was like really happy. I was like, oh, cool. I mean, you've been with us for over a year now, at least, I think.
Yeah, it's about 2 years now, I think.
Yeah, dude. Like it's nice to see this grow, and I love our Discord. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on the stream so you guys can see this. If you guys would like to be part of our community, we're currently at 62 members. If you guys would like to join, we've had this up for about a month now. It's really fun. We get into more than just Star Citizen, although I'm pretty much focusing on Star Citizen right now and a couple other areas, Minecraft and Hearthstone and League of Legends a little bit. So those are my 4 games that I've been playing lately, and Star Citizen is just going to be one of those that I will never stop playing, man. Like I come back to it over and over again. I'm very addicted to it. So please join us on our Discord. Our community is growing here, and it's always fun. Like I'll wake up, I'll get some coffee, I'll look in Discord. Some people are talking, telling me about their day or just bullshitting, and then we got relevant topics over on the side here. You can see over here where I'm on the stream and I'm highlighting. We've got like different games people are playing, and in each group there's always people chatting. And as we grow, We got some moderators that know what they're doing, and if you guys have any problems, just talk to me, and don't worry about it. We'll make sure that I said, if you have any friends that are assholes, don't invite them unless they're the funny kind of assholes. Like we're cool with the funny assholes, but if there's any assholes, we'll kick them out. Thank you, Captain, for following us, dude. Really appreciate that, man. So I had a really fun night tonight, guys. Thank you very much. I'm doing more of these, so you guys are more than welcome to join. Next week, I'm not quite sure if I have the time, but I do want to touch on exploration. Like, it's been a while since we talked about exploration, and I had a talk with the fellas the other night about it, and we talked about some things that we didn't previously talk about, and such as, spawn rates and stuff of that nature, and will people be will people have enough to keep them interested, and so, like, I want to get into exploration talk next week. I think we'll probably shoot for next week. You can stay tuned to my Facebook or Steam or Discord, any of this shitty social media platform, all these social media. I mean, can't they just combine it? Like, I'm so tired. like there's Facebook and Twitter and blah 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 blah. I just want like
they're doing, isn't it? That's what Spectrum's going to do.
Yeah. So that yes, and that's yes, and I think I'll just pretty much be using that for Star Citizen.
And that will be handy. Spectrum looks good. I like the look of Spectrum.
Yes. So thank you.
It gives them that's even more interaction with your community, isn't it? So
yeah. I mean, that's great.
Things easier.
Yes, it does.
I think that's really needed, and I think that will make a whole big. I think that will make a massive difference. So.
Well, their search was really interesting to me, because I think their search on. Oh, thanks for following, Wit. Their search, I think, is broken on RSI right now. I think the search feature on RSI's website is broken. So they were talking about on Spectrum, the search feature looked really cool. When they typed in the search, it brought up all forum posts, all chat, everything that was relevant. Yeah. And I was like, man, this is so great.
And all sorts, can't you? So that's
great. And they were, when they brought Spectrum up, people were like, I was watching the Twitch chat, I was watching it live, and I was watching people on Twitch go boring, zzz, blah, blah, blah. But as somebody who builds something, I thought Spectrum was phenomenal. I was like, I'm on board with this. This is like something I would really love.
I'm that interested in it. Mm-hmm. And I think that will bring a lot easier communication to people as well.
Yeah.
Because, it's very basic in the moment what you can do within the game, and I think that will hold.
It's too basic. Yeah, you're right. It'll give more glue. It'll give more glue to it. Yeah, because like it's too basic, and you feel very disoriented when like trying to like friend somebody or get other people to play with. You still feel kind of solo mode, like Han Solo, So that should bring some type of like kind of glue to it, where like like you got more of a community feeling. In fact, that's what Discord did for us here for our YouTube channel and everything we're doing here on community. When I had Discord here and I just saw like boom, like people just start joining and able to talk to them, I was like, wow, this is like a direct connection where I can like talk with people and they have like an idea and they'll be like, hey Al, what's on for today, or what are you doing for today? And I can say, oh, sorry, my girlfriend's got me for the next 2 days, and then everybody goes, oh or some shit like that. But like it's very fun to have people here and get to know them, and I'm really happy you guys joined us here tonight. Thank you so very much, Kamikaze. Thank you, Discord, and thank you, Big D, for joining us tonight. And we will be on the video tomorrow. Oh, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. It's great knowing you guys. And you guys will see yourself probably sometime tomorrow or early Friday with this video where we are talking about organizations. And just to wrap this up, so you guys know, anybody that has their own organization that they are in or created is more than welcome to actually link that down in the comments on the video, and I will accept those. If you don't see those right away, don't worry. It's because of the filtering system that YouTube has, and I will accept them as they come in. And so please advertise your organization. This is like one of the very few videos where I actually let people link up, their own organizations, and I'll make sure that everybody puts a legit one there so nobody's clicking on some malware shit. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Big D?
Don't forget to pay Al a citizen tax.
Yes. Oh, taxes. Oh my God. Real quick. We didn't get into that. So one last thing with the organizations, they are going to implement a taxing system. So one of two ways. Upon all the income that you make, they're letting you set a percentage rate, and then that percentage rate goes to the organization. Very cool. I never am the type that will set that high. I'll probably set that at like 10%, if that, because I think the higher you tax, the more people get upset about that, because It should be more about the camaraderie. But there are going to be organizations that have higher tax rates, so it should be interesting to see what happens. Also, the other way that they're going to let you do it is by basically creating like a stipend, like a price per month, like a fee, like, you know, like an organization fee that you pay every month. So at least that's what Chris explained in one of the 10 for the chair that I watched. So that will be actually very cool to see in the future as that rolls out. It's important because that revenue is very important for the organization to grow and then to help your other members out. That was always a big deal for me, is to like make sure that the coffers always had enough for people if they like blew up a ship and they were doing it for the organization. I felt really bad if somebody lost a ship and then said, "Oh man, I just blew this up trying to do this for you." And then I was like, "Whoopsie, I'm sorry." You know, like I kind of want to, you kind of want to have some type of money to back it up and say, "Hey dude, like here's some money to replace the ship that you have." Now insurance is going to take care of that for now, but as the game continues on and you're buying more ships with in-game credits, you're going to see a lot of the insurance kind of fall off. People will still insure it, but like it's not going to be lifetime anymore. You know, that's just for pledging. It'll be probably for a duration period of time, and so that'll bring about a lot of turnaround for ships. And I'm not quite sure if we're able to sell ships yet. Does anybody know if we're actually able to sell ships? That would be something I'd be interested in looking at.
Only in the gray market, as far as I know. not
yeah.
in the game.
Yeah, I know. Well, not like sell ships like real, but I mean like in game, once in game. Like manufacturing of ships and selling ships, I don't think that's anything we can do.
What about modifications?
Mods, not quite sure actually on that either. Maybe if somebody wants to type that down in the chat, if somebody knows about that area, but I will look into that, and I will have more answers in that in the future. But I think that that's something they might want to look at. I don't know if they're going to keep ship building and ship selling strictly for NPCs and AI, but I think that's kind of a shame if they do. I would like more human involvement with that. I think that's important, especially when you're talking about items so very important to the game. Most people are going to be buying ships, for God's sake. You know, I know you're going to be able to sell them back, but I'm not sure. I don't think you can sell them to other humans, which would be like a shame. So we'll see. I'm not quite sure about that. So
main weapons as well.
Right. And then Ace is saying that the ship will break down over time, so I'm sure you could sell it against a new one. Right. So Ace is saying basically you can take your ship and then trade it into the NPC store for the current price that it's at for a new ship, but not. I believe you cannot do any human selling. Like if you want to sell your ship to a friend or an org mate, I think that would be cool if they added that. I mean, that makes sense to me, totally. At least, you know, like why wouldn't
have
you
like
be
an
able to
in-game Craigslist of some kind, right?
Right. You know, like if I have a ship and I don't want to fly it anymore, but like I want like an org mate to have it, like a feature that at least let me trade him the ship for no price, even, you know what I mean? So, you know, and then if you wanted to sell it, you know, within the organization or outside the organization, I would hope that you could be able to do that. Ace is saying you should be able to consider a pirate could steal and keep it. Should be able to buy from each other as well. So anyhow, thanks guys for joining us tonight. Had that little blurb at the end. I think we've covered it fairly thoroughly. I think we've done a pretty good job at covering organizations tonight. Thanks guys for joining me here. And thanks for everybody joining us on the stream, and for our new followers. We have these talks like about 2 to 3 times a month, and you guys are more than welcome to join us on our Discord, and we will see you. Actually, I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably some Hearthstone or some League of Legends or something. So if you guys are into that, I'll check you guys out tomorrow. And thanks for all of our community for being here. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Night, mate.
Good night.